Hi, everybody. This is Coach Dana Inspires with CoachDanaInspires.com, and it is Business Inspiration Tuesday. What a crazy day it is. We have our special guest today, Bob Ramsey. Hello, Bob. How are you?
I'm excited.
Okay, well, I'm excited too. So how are you doing, Bob? How's the family? Anybody sick? Everybody well?
We are all in our family very healthy, thankfully. People all around us have been suffering, and we've just been trying to be very careful and very safe and prudent. And so far, so good for our family. Thank you.
All right, super. That is great news. Wow. It is kind of, for us, we've been hearing people all around us, but we have luckily stayed very well. And what a blessing that's been. When you're going around talking to your clients and your people that you know in businesses that you deal with all the time, what are you hearing out there? It's been now 10 months now of happy COVID time. What are you hearing? Is there positive news? People feeling good? What do you think?
Dana, I think that more than anything, people are unsure, and I would call it a little insecure. They're moving forward, but they don't really know what's going on. It kind of reminds me in a way of when I was a young boy and I was entering high school for the first time. And we didn't really know what high school was like. We were a little bit afraid of it. We were unsure and insecure about that new change, but we heard it was okay if you just keep your head down. And so it's that, I think that's the sense I feel in the business community is we're all going into high school again and we
Yeah,
don't really know what's going on there.
yeah. That's a good analogy. I love that. That's perfect. Yeah, because we know it's coming and we think it's going to be okay. I think that's great. Thank you so much. I may steal that from you, Bob. I may steal it.
Absolutely.
I,
Absolutely.
I, I love it. That's great. So, what do you think that we entrepreneurs, business people, what can we do right now? Do you think that we can like leap out and do to really make a difference in our businesses?
Dana, I think that my tendency when things get scary or when things I don't know what's going on is to focus on myself and my needs and my goals and how I can achieve. And I stop thinking outside. What's good for other people? How can I serve my clients better? What are they suffering with? And so, what I think we can all do more of is look out instead of looking in. Think about all the people out there on my horizon, and how can I serve them in the particular way they need served if I can. And sometimes I can't. But quit thinking that I need to take care of myself and start thinking more, is there any value that I can give now in these relatively scary times to other people?
Right,
When
right.
I look back through history and I see the other difficult times, there were times in our country where we were at war, other times when there was another big economic collapse, like the Great Depression. And the people I think that did the best were those people that said, what can I do where I am with what I have to serve the people around me? And if you can stop thinking about how I can pay my bills and how I can keep my family healthy and how I, do the things I want to do and start thinking, what can I do for him and her and her and him, her? That's
Right.
that's a focus that I'm trying to do.
Right. Wow. And that's excellent. That's so fabulous. And I think it's a good word of advice for us because I think we do. I think it's natural that as we mosey through this, we go into this kind of a self-protection mode
Right.
instead of looking out. So great reminder for all of us. Thank you so much, Bob. And Bob, you do this, you train companies on this Kohler effect. Now,
Right.
honestly, Bob, I'm going to be, transparent here. I had no idea what Kohler Effect was until I met you. And then I did a little research. I said, okay, what is this guy talking about here? So I did do a little research on it. Thank you so much. And so you train companies how to motivate employees using the Kohler Effect. And a lot of the people who are our viewers today, they may not have tons of employees. They may be entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small business owners with a very small team, but most of us are on teams of some kind. And how does this, so this Kohler Effect could work, but first off, tell us what on earth is the Kohler Effect?
Okay. Well, the Kohler Effect is a phenomena. It's a phenomena where people are more motivated to work or to play or to perform better when they feel like they're important members of a team, when they feel like what they're doing is so important that somebody's counting on them. And we've all seen it. We've all seen it. We've just not labeled it or maybe focused on it like I do all the time now. Can I tell you a story?
Absolutely.
Okay, there's a 5 salespeople that I'm working with right now. I'm doing some sales coaching for 5 different salespeople in an organization where the managers told me that these 5 people are underperforming. And so I asked them, tell me the parameters, what they're doing that are underperforming, and what exactly do you want them to do? And they told me that. And then I start meeting with these 5 people. They're all men. These all 5 gentlemen. And I asked them questions about how they're performing, and I could tell they were all pretty undermotivated. And so I said, okay, well, what's going on here? And, I asked some questions, and nobody said we're undermotivated because nobody above us believes in us. They didn't say that. They just said that they're not sure about this job, and the customer, all the excuses, they sound like excuses to their upper management, but they were reasons in their mind. COVID, I can't see people face to face. We're being closed off. Nobody will take our calls. So all those things are going on in their mind, and they feel like they can't move. So I called their sales managers and I talked to them, and they told me things like, I told this guy that he's going to have to decide if he's going to work here or not. I mean, I don't care if he works here or works someplace else, but I can't really keep him on if he's going to be a low performer like that. And I thought to myself, I said to him, are you telling him those exact words? He said, well, pretty much. And so when I met with that young man again, I asked him about his boss, and I asked him if he thought his boss believed in him. And he said, no, he doesn't believe in me. And I thought to myself, that's part of the problem right there. Because that boss is not applying the Kohler Effect. He's applying the opposite of the Kohler Effect. It's when you don't believe in somebody, they're going to have a hard time thinking they're important members of the team. But if you tell them you believe in them, if you actually do believe in them, that's when the Kohler Effect starts to take effect. So what you have to do is you have to do 2 things. Just a real short story here. You have to make them feel like their work is important, and you have to make them feel like we're part of the same team. We're close. We're on the same group.
Right. So are you still in the middle of seeing this transformation, or you've clearly seen this in the past that it actually does work?
Yes, it does work. It does work when people work it. So like I talked to I'm meeting with the vice president of sales on Friday, and I told him that these 2 managers are part of the issue. I said to them that I met with both of these, and I'm concerned of that. The other manager, he says the right things, but he says them in a way that the real truth comes out, right?
Right.
It's like me telling my wife, yeah, I love you. You know,
Right.
that's not going to get the job done.
And then she's sitting there going,
Right.
yeah,
Exactly. So you really have to believe in people right up to the point that you either fire them or they succeed greatly. I mean, I was talking to another manager yesterday about him giving a PIP to one of his people, a performance improvement plan. And so I think that we all know that when somebody gets a performance improvement plan, that's a step that HR makes us do before we fire the person. You know, that's like the writ of death for most people. And so when most people get a PIP and they have 10 things written on them, and like 2 they think they can do and 8 they think they can't, they're either going to go at home and work on their resume, or they're going to go home and drink, or they're going to go home and you know, it's very rare when a leader gives somebody a PIP and they say, listen, I need you to get these 10 things done in 90 days. And I'm going to use all my energy to help you get all 10. Because if you don't get all 10, I'm going to have to fire you. But I believe in you. I believe in you so much that I'm going to work 80 hours a week, and I'm going to get by your side, and I'm going to stand by you. I'm going to go make sales calls with you. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get these things done. I want you and me to meet on Saturday morning for breakfast. We're going to work on this on Saturday. We're going to work on that's very rare, but that's what the Kohler Effect does. You know, I think if most people that got PIPs got that kind of support from their leader.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It would be lovely if all leaders would be supportive, not necessarily on Saturdays, you know, I mean, right. But I get your idea. I get the meaning here is, if I'm an employer and I want this person to really succeed, I have to let them know that I'm here for them, and to ask me, and to I'm here to answer, and I'm here to help. I'm here to support. Otherwise, and believe me, I think probably all of us have been out there and gone, I had that manager was mine. I know that guy who stabbed me in the back, who kept saying, "Oh yeah, you're doing great," and rolled his eyes, you know. But it's rare to have someone who really had your back, and really, even though you were failing or had shortcomings, they really wanted you to succeed. And what a good message to have for us out here. And it's not just employees, like we talked about before. We're on teams of all different kinds. And if the team members were supportive of each other, instead of, well, I can do this better, and I'm going to make this guy look like a jerk, and you know, she's dropping the ball, so it's her fault. If we could all come together and support each other, what a wonderful world it would be. We'll just say that. I like it. I like it. So what are the common barriers to really being able to motivate employees and other team members and the people around us? There's got to be some reason why we don't do this all the time.
I would say ignorance.
Aha.
I'll
write that down.
I would say selfishness. Because if you know what works, you can do it. If you don't know what works, you can't do it. So you've got to not be ignorant. You've got to understand things that you can do that actually work. It's ignorance. The second thing is you've got to be unselfish enough to be a giver. Because, Dana, you know, we need to affect the Kohler effect in families too. You know that. Like people are watching this. They have spouses, they have family members, they have adult children, they have younger children, and we want to motivate them too. See, when we started writing our book about the Kohler effect, we actually talked about the line of meaning. And there's a line that goes from very, very meaningless. They have a meaningless life to a very, very meaningful life. And how can you move up this line to have more and more meaning in your life? And one of the things we know that gives people meaning is their work, the work that they do.
Yeah.
Because we know that a major suicide group in the United States today is white men over 65 years old. Why is that? Why do white men over 65 years old get so despondent? Well, their meaning goes down, right? Because they had something that gave them some meaning. Maybe it was only here, and it's decreasing. So I think that one thing we can do in our families is to give each other important work to do. In other words, delegate important work. Leaders, family members, don't hold selfishly to the good tasks and let somebody else clean the toilet. You delegate the important tasks and you go clean the toilet.
Right.
Because if you delegate important things, it's not so much you cleaning the toilet. Okay, that's another message actually. But the real message of the Kohler Effect is, if there's a real important thing to do, if you're planning a vacation with your preteens and you let them plan the itinerary, that's a valuable task that you're delegating away. I'm not going to be doing it as the dad or the mom. I'm going to let the kids do it. And
Right.
it might turn out different, but that's going to give them so much meaning. See, if husbands and wives and other people in families would just acknowledge that what you're doing.
Yeah.
Gosh, let me just say here that when you cleaned up the living room and got all the clutter out of it and swept the floor, that really made all of us have more peace in the family, and just gave us all a sense of calmness and serenity. And I really appreciate that. Tell them that way that what they're doing is important, even if it's cleaning the living room.
Right. Right. And it sounds, as we're chatting here, I'm like, absolutely, how lovely. But I just see that human nature sometimes just takes over, and we want to be first. We want to be the winner. We want to come out on top. Look at what I did. And I think that's I think that's human nature. But what you're saying is, if we could consciously be that giving person, it just might work out a little bit better.
Right. And there's a lot of things to give. If you give gifts, that's a good thing to give, but it doesn't activate the Kohler Effect. When you give somebody important work to do, that activates the Kohler Effect. Now, if you give gifts, they could reciprocate, that could motivate them, but that's not the motivation of the Kohler Effect. The Kohler Effect means that I drive through sometimes and get coffee or, fries, whatever. And I sometimes tell the person at the drive-up window, hey, thanks so much for, giving me this. And thanks for coming to work today. I've said, thanks for coming to work today to hundreds of people, and I get all kinds of reactions. But the main reaction I get is people kind of brighten up, and they say thank you with words, or they say thank you just with their face, because somebody at the drive-up window that's going through me just said thank you for coming to work today. And so I just try to give people little meanings to their work life. And gosh, everybody can do that.
Right. I used to work for, just if I could just really quickly jump in, I had a long time ago. Long time ago, doesn't matter when, before you were born, Bob, I was working at this corporation. And as we would leave for the day, the director, his office was, right there at the door where we walked out. And he would sit there and he'd say, hey, Thanks for coming in today. Good work. Good work today. See you tomorrow. Can't wait. And, we'd all kind of go, what's with that guy? But honestly, we kind of looked forward to coming in and seeing the guy and getting our work done because he acted like he truly appreciated it. And I didn't know there was an actual name for it, but now I do, Bob.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you're talking about how we can do this. So is there a specific things that leaders can do to really activate this with either their employees, their team? What can a leader really do to activate this?
Okay. Well, that's a great question. And let's just say you have 5 employees. And all 5 of those employees are going to be different personalities. They're going to be in different stages of their career. They're going to have maybe all have them different jobs. They're going to be on the job for a different amount of time. One person's been there 6 months. One person's been there 6 years. And so you need to actually interview them. I call it interview, but it's just talk, and ask them where they are on their job. And they're going to not tell you the truth. They're going to tell you what they think you want to hear. They think you want to hear. And so you're going to have to just care enough about them and build a relationship with them enough to actually find out what's really, really going on. And if they're honest with you, they're going to say, I feel like what I'm doing here doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't have any meaning. And so to find that out is a number one thing you need to do. Find out how much meaning everybody has, because some people love their job and they're having some other kind of issue with it, or they don't think people care about them. Some people don't like their job at all because they feel like it has no meaning. So let's take those, for instance. So what the leader needs to do, I'll tell you a story about a leader named Ryan, who was in a pretty big manufacturing company, and he had a group of people that he managed, and they were under motivated and didn't really like their jobs. And, he just felt like he had to get the whip out every day and just try to motivate them to get their job done. And I asked him how much contact they have with customers. And he said, none. They never talk to our end users, never, ever. I said, well, I think that you ought to try to find a way that you could have some of maybe record some of the calls that the customer service people talk to about satisfied customers, and then play them for your group. He said, I can do one better than that. I also supervise the group that's the customer service group. So I'll have the customer service group come and tell some stories of happy customers to this underutilized group, undermotivated group. So that's what he did. He had the customer service people create about 10 or 12 positive stories of what customers use the widget that the company's made, and come talk to the research group that was behind in closets and never saw a customer. Because seeing and hearing stories of how their work affected positively customer experiences activated the Kohler effect. So that's one thing that leaders can do, is find a way to communicate to your employees how important their work is to customers, to the team, to you, to whoever it affects. So that's one thing that manager did that worked well.
Yeah, and I can see that. I could see that, right? Because if you never have any feedback, actual real feedback, you're kind of working in a vacuum. So this is great. Wow. This is fabulous. Now, Bob, we are out of time. Thank you so much. Now, what's the name of this book that you keep referring to?
Well, the name of the book is The Leadership Push, and it looks like this. This is what it looks like.
Is that what it looks like?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But
the leadership push.
The leadership push, yeah. And a smart guy and his very smart son wrote it together.
And you know these people.
Well, I know that. Yeah, I know that very smart son really well.
Okay.
But it's just we. You know what we tried to do is we tried to make a lot of stories in there and make it fun to
Sure.
read. So
Yeah. And this Kohler effect is, I'm the you have the power of kindness person, and it's almost like being kind in a very strategic, tactical way for your business.
yes,
I love that. Absolutely. So Bob, we are at the end, and so if anyone out there wants to get a hold of Bob, he is at his website is bobramseyseminars.com, and you can reach Bob at bobramseyseminars.com. So reach out if you have questions, you want him to help you out in some way. Be sure, get a hold of him, and he is more than happy to help you out. And if I can help anyone, if I can be of service to someone, CoachDanaInspires.com, get a hold of me, and we'll see you next Tuesday, hopefully without any of these happy technical difficulties. Bob, thanks for putting up with that, and thanks for a great interview. We'll see you soon.
thanks, Dana. You're great. Appreciate you.
Okay,
Thanks.
bye-bye.